commercial kitchen now. And we've got to be careful when we look at these because it looks very much like what we call a water can. A water can is just a Class A extinguisher filled with water. This one on the front, and I'm going to defer to this wonderful young lady here. What classes of fire does it say it will put out on the front of there? There's little pictures and stuff on there. What classes and what letters?
A and K.
A and K, nice job. So it's got the A, the K, it's got the pictures for each. And it will be in a commercial kitchen if you go into one. They'll also have this same material in what they call the hood system. Over the fryers and the griddle and all that where they're doing all their work, there'll be little nozzles coming down, and I don't have one of those to bring to show you. Sorry, I wish I had a whole lab with that in it. The way those in the hood system work, there's a little fusible link. And if that little piece of metal gets to a certain temperature, it melts and it trips the whole system and it dumps the extinguishment material and it shuts the gas valve off. Sometimes it doesn't get hot enough or there's a failure in that. There's a manual button on the wall, so we could go over and manually push that to start it. Well, if we don't get that, we've got the K class. We want to use that hood system because it shuts the gas off. So even if it's not going to go over and manually hit that, if you're working in food service, find out where that's at. Not only does it put the fire out, it shuts the gas off. This is kind of the backup. Something flares up a little bit after we've got that, we can use this. The nozzle on here is a lot different. Look at how small that is coming out of there. So it's a very small nozzle that'll come out. So it's a wet chemical, and here's your big word for the day. It goes through a process called saponification. It mixes with the fats and the oils and basically puts a crust on the top of that grease. So does it smother the fire then? Yeah, it kind of smothers that fire. It doesn't eat away at the stainless steel of the appliances in the kitchen either, so the restaurateurs tend to like that quite a bit, versus we use the dry chemical if we have to, and it can pit away at some of their equipment. So this is a K-class extinguisher. For culinary class, if you know the ABC and the K-class, you're doing really well. If you come and take my fire classes, then we get about 7 other extinguishers that we get out and you have to learn bits and pieces about, because they all have different uses. So far, so good? All right, I'm going to set this one out of the way. We're going to talk about how to use these extinguishers, because that's what you're going to do when you go outside. It's a really easy thing. We're going to remember the word pass. Okay, hopefully we can all spell it. It's easy enough that Mr. Gall can spell it, so I know you guys should be good. P-A-S-S. The first P is going to be pull the pin. I'm not going to pull these pins because these are extinguishers we need to put back in service. But I would pull the pin. Do I care where the pin goes?
Nope.
No, I really don't. If I'm going to use this, the pin can go away. So I've pulled the pin out. I'm holding it down here. Don't be squeezing down and try and pull the pin. 1, it's hard to get the pin out, and 2, you're going to discharge it right away. So I pull the pin. Then I'm going to grab the nozzle. I'm not going to grab it up here. I'm going to grab it at the end where I can control this. We're generally going to start about 8 to 10 feet away from the fire. So if that trash can were on fire in front of me, I would start out about here. So I've pulled the pin, I've aimed the nozzle. Now I'm to the first S. That's going to be squeezing the handle. And when I'm doing this, I'm aiming at the base, the bottom of the fire. It doesn't do any good to sit and spray this all over in the air. Aiming at the base, and then I sweep side to side as I move up on the fire. If I start to push the fire, that means I'm too close. Back up a little bit. When we use an extinguisher, we dump the whole thing. If that were on fire and this was the extinguisher, I would keep going until this extinguisher is gone. I'm not going to take any chances. When I'm done, I don't turn my back on the fire and walk away. If something flares up, something goes kabloomy, I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm backing away so I can watch. If I see something flare up, I know I might be grabbing another extinguisher. Today when we're outside, we'll talk to the fire marshal's office when they get here, we're only gonna use a few seconds out of this because we're gonna get 3 people probably out of this little extinguisher. We're gonna take one of the big ones down from here in case we need it. And if we use that 20 pounder, we might get 6 or 7 people out of that. So pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Mrs. Miller, would you bring me that other extinguisher I have over there? This one, we had our kids down at Harry Hopkins cut out for us so you can see what the inside of an extinguisher looks like. So what I think I'll have you do is those of you that are over here kind of gather around over so that you can see. And this is what the inside of an extinguisher looks like. And I'll show you too, I promise. Okay? So this gets partially filled with the dry chemical. And then they put compressed air into it. So when we squeeze this handle, it opens everything up. It pushes the extinguishment material down, and then it comes up this tube and out. So that's how it actually works. It's kind of nice to see how this works. So all the pressure will push that down, up, and out. So this is what the inside of a fire extinguisher actually looks like. So far, so good? All right, so we're gonna use an extinguisher. We're gonna make you our extinguisher man right now. We'll just demonstrate with this one. So we're gonna pretend there's a pin in there, okay? We're gonna pretend this is a real extinguisher, and we're gonna pretend that this garbage can is on fire right there. So you're gonna start out over by the sink. And if you need to phone a friend, you can phone a friend to help here, okay?
Okay.
So that garbage can is on fire. What's the first thing you would do with that extinguisher?
Pull the pin.
Genius. He's already passing better than most. Okay, so he's pulled the pin. About how close do we want to get before we start?
Oh, like right here?
Oh, look, and he's already got the A down. What's he doing with the nozzle? Aiming, and where's he going to aim at?
Base.
The base. What's the next thing you're going to do?
Squeeze this.
Okay, so he's squeezing, and once you start squeezing, what are you going to do?
Like, get closer to it.
Get closer and sweep back and forth. How much of that extinguisher would you use on that garbage can?
The whole thing.
The whole thing, so you get right up on it. You're dumping it all in there. Okay, so now you're done. Show us how you would move away from that can. That's perfect. If all of you can do that when we go outside, it will be perfect. What's going to happen to the atmosphere of this room when he starts discharging that?
It's gonna get really smelly.
A little smelly, and it's going to get really cloudy. And it's going to be hard to see. So we want to make sure we know where that exit's at so that we can get out. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes, sir.
The chemicals in here, like hazardous to breathe.
No, it's non-toxic, so that's not going to get us with the chemical itself. Now, anytime you get a bunch of dust, anything, can it make you start coughing? Absolutely it can. All right. We are done with the inside session.